Folks, hello and welcome to Tavern Chat. I'm your host, Eric Tenkar, your bartender in the OSR, your main proprietor at the Tenkar's Tavern blog. Before we jump into today's video on Arduin and Dungeon Ecology, I want to show that there are two links on the bottom of the screen. One is for Tenkar's tavern.game/Battletech, and it is a humble bundle for Battletech fiction. I think $18 gets you 70 books and periodicals for Battletech. If you hit 30 and you didn't get the bundle from last year, from 2023, you add another 60 titles. So if you like Battletech fiction, it's probably pretty an insane value. And if you don't like Battletech fiction, I'm sure you don't even care. What can I say? The other link is for Emperor's Choice, EmpCho. EmpCho.com. So that will take you to Emperor's Choice. They are the rights holders. They are the publishers of Arduin. Whether it's the reprints, whether it's the miniatures, whether it's the upcoming Arduin, Bloody Arduin, they respect the IP. They do a lot with the IP. And they are great people for the community. So, these aren't paid advertisements. If you shop at a Humble Bundle and you pick something up, yes, a portion of your monies will go to support the tavern. We'd rather use affiliate links than do sponsorships because sponsorships makes us beholden, and we don't like to be beholden. So, Arduin Dungeon Ecology. I believe this is from Arduin Grimoire number 4. And this is only part of Dave's article on Dungeon Ecology, but I thought that this is the relevant part. No matter what game you're playing, no matter what edition, no matter whether it's 5e or OSR or RuneQuest, if you're playing in a fantasy setting and dungeons and caverns and tombs are part of your go-to stuff for your players, and you're doing something other than episodic. Like when I started gaming, we did episodic. We threw together a dungeon that had no rhyme or reason to it. Skeletons in one room, orcs in the next room. Maybe gelatinous cube walking the halls. Baby dragon in the room on the other side. There was no rhyme or reason. This is how it was done. And Dave is talking about campaign play, where there's a world beyond the dungeon. There's a world beyond dungeon crawling. And that makes dungeons themselves something that has to be explained. So he goes, in order to have such places in any numbers in a campaign game, and mind you, that's in italics, it will be necessary to do the following. All right, let's look at what Dave was saying. A, be sure the ecology rules for monsters apply here. See the ecology of monster creation. I'll tap on that one later in a different episode. There can be more than one monster in a dungeon or such, but there should be a damn good reason for their continued proximity to one another over the years. A believable one, even though these are fantasy games. Even fantasy games, right? You have to suspend disbelief, but there's a limit, right? There's a point where you get to when you can suspend disbelief, and you don't want to get to that point. The treasure/loot should have a reason for being there and undiscovered all of these years. Right. Why are the orcs sitting on a ring of 3 wishes? Oh, and they never found it in their pile of poop. Maybe why? Even if it's only the DM understands why it's there, you should know why it's there. The dungeons should be in generally inaccessible places and not many in number in order to preserve their uniqueness and difficulty to loot. If the dungeon is right outside of town, it would have been cleared out already, right? Why? Unless it's just been found. And if it's just been found, then how are creatures living in it? There's this whole thing. It has to make sense. All right. So there's too many, like barrel maze kind of makes sense, right? Because undead, you don't have to worry so much about, well, how are they living there? And it's interconnected tombs or tombs that aren't connected. There's an ecology to it. There should be a few clues to their whereabouts. Fragments of old song or verse, for example, available to the players at any one time, but the whole bunch available over the long run. In other words, it's a campaign you feed out the hints. As each group gathers one piece of the puzzle or another over months or years, gain time of adventuring. All right, it might be lost in the jungle or in the Great Arctic or wherever it is. It's some island that nobody has gone to in decades or hundreds of years. It has to, you got to lead up to it, right? It's, again, we played it differently in my high school years, certainly, because there wasn't any real continuity. It was just pull out a dungeon and let's go. It changes, right? This is how to, the basic rules on how to run a campaign, and Dave is giving you those. Neither the amount of loot or number of monsters should be such that they will overbalance the ecology of the campaign they are a part of. If your PCs, and this is an issue with a lot of the older rule sets where you got Expo based primarily on treasure recovered. Well, that treasure has to be spent, right? And once you spend it, once you put it into the economy, you're adding money to the economy. When you add money to the economy, what do you get? You get inflation. Prices go up. All right? This is basic economics. Dave is talking about basic economics. So when you stress, and that was, hey, adventuring in old school games always was, hey, if you don't have to fight, you don't fight. You steal the treasure, right? Like, it was almost having like a thief class was redundant because everybody was a thief, in theory, if you were going to survive. And early games, early campaigns, didn't worry so much about all that money being put into the economy. But what happened in gold rush towns? We could see this, just go back to the 1800s. In gold rush towns, when gold was found and everybody started going there and all this gold was being pulled out of the ground, prices went up greatly because gold was so plentiful. What's going to happen when gold comes into the economy? So, folks, if these rules are followed, it is perfectly reasonable to have dungeon delving as a part of the campaign game world. In fact, it is probably the single most popular facet of FRP, fantasy role-playing gaming. Just don't let it get out of hand. I really do enjoy Dave's insights. I think they were actually more important than a lot of the rules that he gave us a lot, but I'm going to get some of those too, like his critical and fumble tables. But I really think that this is spot on. A great way. It doesn't take a lot of words to do it, right? This is, I don't know, a couple of sentences. Each of these parts is basically one sentence. So he explains it in 6 or 7 sentences how to run a successful campaign. And I think that's priceless. So, by the way, tomorrow night we have a live stream. The Random Party Generator. Rob Conley is doing a giveaway for what else? His How to Make a Fantasy Sandbox. Also, we're going to have discount codes. So if you want to purchase the PDF, if you want to purchase the book, there will be discount codes. I will make sure that the links are on the bottom of the screen tomorrow. Scrolling, I will make sure that I put them into the show notes and pin them as a comment and all that fun stuff. So that's tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Be here. Be square. All right, folks. Good night. God bless. Oh, roll this ice, roll them well. The whole spiel.